Welcome to this tutorial on home automation. My name is Gopi.
And I'm Akhil.
Yeah, so basically, what is home automation?
So I don't say that it has got some particular definition. So like if you want to call controlling your electrical appliances with the help of a tablet or a phone,
Yeah,
so if you call that home automation, then what you will say about this?
yeah, even this is a home automation where you can see Tony Stark is controlling his entire house using just his speech.
Yeah, so it just extends till your imagination goes. There is no particular limit or something like that. So if you are lazy, then you get these sort of ideas.
Yeah, you have to be creative too. Nowadays, there are many ways to automate your home, but some of the most common methods are these. We automate our homes using Arduinos or Raspberry Pis, and the means of communications are Bluetooth and Internet.
So basically, the basic one, like which the beginners start from, is using Arduino and communicating with the phone using their Bluetooth. So the next ones may be Arduino and internet. So you can just use various combinations of these two.
Yeah.
Maybe even you can use Bluetooth and Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Raspberry Pi internet is a bit complicated,
Yeah.
and then slowly we can go to that stage.
But for this tutorial, we'll be linking up Arduino and Bluetooth and we'll be automating our home with that. So just a quick walkthrough of this tutorial. Firstly we'll be dealing with the hardware components required, and then we'll be introducing Arduino. For those who are new to Arduino, we'll be telling what Arduino is, and we'll be giving you an introduction of the IDE where you write the code.
All those sort of things. If you are if you're familiar with Arduino sort of thing and you have done some projects with that, then maybe you can skip that part and directly jump into the Arduino code.
Yeah. The third part, as you can see, is the Arduino code that is required for home automation. Nextly, we'll be dealing with the connections that are involved and apps needed. You'll get to know about them. Just stick with us.
And yeah, now the things required. So now you require things for this automation, obviously. So here is the list.
Yeah. On the hardware side, we'll be using Arduino and a Bluetooth module.
Preferably HC05 or HC06. You have many Bluetooth modules, but you need the one which is a serial communication.
Yeah, you will get to know of these terms once you start watching the tutorial. What a Bluetooth module is.
Yeah, we have got description of all these things.
Yeah. And nextly, we'll be dealing with the relay modules, and obviously, you need jumper wires for connecting. From the software part, you'll be reading the Arduino IDE. As I've said earlier, you'll be writing the codes in this IDE. Finally, you need mobile apps for controlling using your mobile phone.
Yeah, for this tutorial we wanted to keep it simple. So what we have done is directly downloaded app from the Play Store. So if you are interested, maybe you can develop an app on your own. Like if you are a professional programmer, a C# or Java guy, maybe you can just develop your own app and just extend the capabilities of this. Once that you have set up your Arduino and you got it to work, so let's start our actual code. So again, we start with our IDE, and then yeah, I quickly delete these comments. I don't like them to see. And yeah, now let's start by defining our variables. Actually, it's better that you don't use pin numbers each and every time. Like you want to use some functions which take in pin numbers as input. It's better that you don't use them every time. You can just actually use these define statements. So if you see here, instead of using 7, so writing pin mode 7 comma output, pin mode like digital write 7 comma high, you could write light switch comma high. Like it's somewhat more intuitive, right? So if you are mentally fixed that okay, my pin 7 corresponds to my light switch. So you by intuition you get that okay, I want to write my light switch as high. So you could do this. You could use this define statements.
What it does is it actually defines seventh pin as light switch. So when you're writing code, instead of 7, if you put light switch, you'll be getting more clarity. You'll be having more clarity of where to put this light switch, or else you'll be confused where to put 7 or 8. Instead of that, it is better if you put light switch and fan switch. You'll be having some clarity.
Yeah, and now, so here basically we are going to do for only light and fan. So if you want to do for any other appliance, so you could like extend this code, like define power switch,
Yeah.
something else like that, and you could use that. But now we are doing it only for light and fan, so I use only these two. Fine. Now, yeah, now let's get into our setup. So you would write pin mode light switch. You can observe that I'm not using 7. I'm
Instead
just
of
using light
7,
switch.
he's using light switch. So you'll be having a bit clarity.
And then, yeah, even for the fan switch, I do the same. As I said before, I'm not very comfortable with this keyboard. And yeah, now here we initialize our this serial communication. So if you don't know about serial communication in Arduino, then I suggest that you refer Arduino documentation and see some other tutorials based on Arduino. So basically here I'm going to declare this, like I'm going to initialize the serial port, not declaring, I'm going to initialize the serial port by saying this statement.
Serial dot begin.
Yeah, serial dot begin, and it takes in a parameter 9600 is an integer value actually. So serial dot begin, essentially what it does is it
Initializes the serial communication between the
Arduino and the Bluetooth module, and
this
at the rate of 9600 baud per second. And yeah, and here our main code starts.
remove that slash. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we will start by taking the input. So uh, this keyboard is just okay. So I have, if you see here, I have defined two character variables, and one is raw input and another is input.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use a function of Arduino serial dot read. So what this serial dot read does is that
It continuously reads what is the value it is getting
from the serial data buffer. Yeah. So this thing has a bit of problem. Like even if you don't give any input from the serial port, this thing returns a value of 255.
Yeah.
255 is byte
default.
actually.
Yeah, it's the default value that the serial dot read has.
Yeah, this read essentially reads bytes. Like it doesn't read a character, it reads bytes. So now what I'm going to do is this filter the unnecessary values that I get. So input not equal to 255. And yeah, sometimes depending on your Arduino board, this 255 value may vary. So I suggest that you just verify once, but that value will be a constant every time. So just check out for your board. So if you are using Uno, it's 99% 255. If any other board, I suggest that you just go and check that value out. Yeah, and then now, yeah, now what I've done is I've taken my input. So it will only initialize if the value is not 255. And then now I switch based on the values of my input variable.
Yeah.
And if you guys are familiar with C or something, then it's not just big deal. But if you're not, then
Just look at up these functions.
yeah,
There will be a lot of tutorials for these.
yeah. And here I'm using this function digital write. So now I assume that you understand the use of digital write. So I'm not explaining it again. And then yeah,
He's breaking it.
these things It's not a big deal actually. I'm just repeating the code again and again.
For different values of input.
So like now, if you see here, sorry, I have to insert a break statement over here. Yeah. So if you see over here, I have written for case 0, like
if the value of input is 0, it will
switch on the light switch. And then if the value is 1, it will switch it off. So this thing we have to remember because we are going to use it in the phone app again. So now similarly, even I'll do it quickly for
remaining cases.
Yeah. And now I use fan switch instead of the numbers and all those. Maybe now you understand the
importance of defining the variables.
Yeah, I know this is a bit boring now. It's taking too long, but I can't help it. You have to bear with me. Yeah, probably yes, finished it. So now, if we have, if you get the input 2, 2 is essentially the character that you're reading from the, no, from the phone app, you will be sending characters. So from there, you will be sending character 2. And here, what you're reading in the input is a byte value. So in order to convert from character value to a byte value, you use this single quotes, which essentially
Converts
gives you
into
the
ASCII value of it.
yeah, you get the ASCII value of 0, which is 48, and just it switches based on the ASCII value. So if input value is equal to 48, then this thing executes. So yeah,
that's it.
We are done with the code.
Now that we have discussed about Arduino, let's discuss about the relay module. So what you're seeing here is a relay module. So you might be wondering what exactly is a relay module. So this is essentially an electronic switch. It acts as a replacement for this traditional physical switches. So as you normally do on and off, and nowadays it's become too mainstream. So this is a trending thing nowadays. So what we will do is give the input from Arduino over here, and then these you will connect the wires from the switchboard to these ports. So if you see here, there are 3 ports for each relay module. So this one is relay module and this one is relay module. So like that you'll have 8 relay modules, and so these 8 relay switches. So this one is called 8 relay module. So for each relay module, you have a corresponding in over here. So you get the output from the Arduino to here. And then if you see here, there is a symbol over here, a small line which is like which is slant towards one side. So this essentially means that this port over here is normally closed. This one is a common, and this one is normally open. What is normally closed, normally open, what is common, you will just get to know in a minute.
Now this is a GIF that explains how relays basically works. As you can see, there are two circuits here, circuit 1 and circuit 2, and this is an electromagnet and this is a small magnet. This brown part is also a small magnet. This red part actually can have two states, either off or on. Initially consider the state where it is switched off. Now when a small amount of current passes through the circuit 1, it generates electromagnetic field which attracts this brown part, and thus this changes its state from switch off position to switch on position. See, you can see that once there is a field generated here, this red part changes its state from off to on, allowing the current to pass through second circuit. Now once the current in circuit 1 is stopped, this there is a spring over here. This spring pulls back the red part, and thus it changes its state. This is the working mechanism when you connect the wires between normally open and common. Similarly, you can guess the working mechanism when they are connected between common and normally closed. Okay, let us see how we connect the relay module to the actual electric line. For that, you have to remove this switchboard, and before doing that, you have to go and
Switch off the main.
yeah, switch off the main. That is mandatory for your own safety. Now, once you open your switchboard, you will see that each there are two ports for each switch, and there is a single wire that is commonly connected for all switches. So what you do is you just bring take a wire and connect it to this common, and the other end of the wire you connect it to the common of the relay module. Now, to find out what is the which port is a common for relay module, the middle one here, you will be having three ports. This one is normally closed, this is common, and this is normally open. So connect the common from the switch manual switchboard to the common of the relay relay module. Now, among two relays, you can just simply connect them in series. Take a wire from the common of the relay and connect it to the common of the other relay. Now, coming back, you have another port other than that contains the common line. Now, bring out a wire from this and connect it to the normally open of the relay. Now, similarly, do it for the other switches. I mean, for the fan, the light, and the power socket. The last hardware component we are going to deal with. This is a typical HC05 Bluetooth module. You can also use a HC06 Bluetooth module. Now, what a Bluetooth module does is it acts as an intermediate between the mobile phone and the Arduino. It transmits the data from mobile phone to the Arduino and vice versa. There are, as you can see, there are 6 pins on this Bluetooth module, out of which you can see what each pin is once you flip the Bluetooth module. You will be using only 4 out of these 6 for the home automation.
So those are the 5 volt, ground, TXD, and the RXD. 5 volt is essentially the power supply, ground is ground, and then the TXD is the data transmission from the Bluetooth to the Arduino, and the RXD is the receiving pin from the Arduino to the Bluetooth.
Okay, now we'll see how connections are made between the Bluetooth module and the Arduino. As you can see, there are 6 pins, out of which we'll be using only 4: the 5 volt pin, the ground pin, the TXD pin, and the RXD pin. Now connect the 5 volt pin of the Bluetooth module to the 5 volt pin of the Arduino. Just find it out and just connect it. And similarly, connect the ground to ground. Ground of the Bluetooth module is connected. Then connect it to the ground of the Arduino. Like this. Now connect the transmission pin to the receiver pin of the Arduino. Now take this receiver pin and connect it to the transmission pin.
So essentially you have to reverse the pins. The transmission goes to the transmitter pin of the Bluetooth, goes to the receiver pin of the Arduino, and the receiver pin of the Bluetooth goes to a transmitter pin of the Arduino. This you should be careful at this point. So yeah, this is how you make the connections.
Now that we have connected the Arduino and the Bluetooth module, it's time we connect the Arduino with the relay module. Now you can see that the third relay, we have taken the fan output and we have connected it to the third relay, right? So we take the third relay pin here, that is in 3, and we connect that to, if you remember the code, we have named the variable fan switch as 8. So we'll be connecting that this in 3 to 8. And similarly, the light switch is connected to, wait a minute, fourth relay. From the fourth relay in 4, just a minute. Yeah, from the in 4 port to the Arduino's 7 port. And next we have to connect the power terminals. Firstly, we'll be connecting the ground of the Arduino to the ground of the relay. Yeah, for that just check up the ground pin and the ground pin of the, connect it to the ground of the relay module. Just a minute. Yeah. Now here's the thing.
Now, yeah, if you see, we are running out of 5-volt pins. If you are working on a Arduino Uno, so you will find out that you don't have a empty 5-volt pin in order to power up the relay board. So you have got only one 5-volt pin and you have used it to power up your Bluetooth module. So now what you could do? One thing, you could use a breadboard. Yeah.
But we are not facing the problem because we are using Arduino Duo, which contains multiple 5-volt lines. Okay, we'll be taking that 5-volt of one of the 5-volt line and just connect it to the VCC of the relay module. Now the connections are done. Okay, now that we have finished all our connections, we are good to go with the first try. See, as you can see, I am giving the power supply to the Arduino Duo using my phone charger. But in case of Uno, you won't be having a micro USB port to the board, so you have to buy another adapter.
Power jack, which will be sold separately for the Uno board.
Yeah.
So this gives another advantage to the Duo board.
Yeah, I'm just switching it on. The LEDs here on the Arduino, they glows up, and you can see that the Bluetooth module, there is an LED over here that is blinking. This kind of state, it means that it is unpaired. Now you have to pair it up with your mobile phone. To do that, just take your mobile phone and switch on the Bluetooth. It takes a bit time. Yeah, HC05, that's the module we are using, right? Just type 1234, that's the default password for it. Done. Okay, it's pairing. Yeah, it's paired now. Okay, once the Bluetooth is paired, you just have to open the app. I recommend using Arduino RC. I just found it on the Play Store for free. Just open that app, proceed, and find HC05 here. Yeah, and here use the terminal mode. If you remember, in the Arduino code, we have mentioned different cases. For 0, the light switch is off.
For 1, light is on.
And
for
2, the fan switch is on.
Yeah, and 3, fan switch off.
Yeah, we'll just see, check it out. For 1, it's actually
light on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
As
can see that. And when he types in 0,
yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, light is off. And
similarly
for fan,
yeah, if I press 2, so I'm sorry, if I press 3, the fan turns on, and if I press 2, it actually turns off.
Yeah, so maybe once you can again show for the light.
Yeah, I'll just type 1. Yeah, and now 0.
Yeah,
Light off.
So that's for the Android. And if you are a Windows phone user, then there is a different app for Windows. Yeah, if you are a Windows user, you could download this Bluetooth Assistant app from the Windows Store. So once you go here, first you need to turn on the Bluetooth. Yeah, you need to first turn on the Bluetooth, and then here it will find the device.
HC05.
Yeah, it will take some time, but then
It has to show eventually, right?
yeah, now if you see here, you have a HC05 tap to pay. So I'll just tap here and it asks for the pin. So again, 1234 is a default one. So done. Yeah, it's connected. So if you see over the Bluetooth module, again the blinking has changed. It's blinking slow a bit. So now if you again see this, now if I go to Bluetooth assistant, and yeah, it asks for this thing and then HC05. Yeah, it's connected over here, and then we go to terminal, and then the same thing again. So if you see here, it's 1 for light, as you remember. Yeah, and then 0 to off it, and then 3 to switch on the fan, and then 4 to switch it off.
2 to switch it off.
Oh, sorry, I don't have a good memory. Yeah, so again, if I do it for the light, yeah, so this is how you do it. So here, even in Windows app, you got one more thing called layout. So here you could define a new layout, like, yeah, I'll show you with my layout. So here is a new layout that I have created. So here you can configure your buttons actually. So light off.
Yeah. You can
Light
see that
on.
the light is off. Light is off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then even for the fan, and fan off. So this is how you do. If you want to create a new layout, you could just see here. Yeah, you have got buttons over here, and then if you click that, you will have button name,
You can just
say
rename them.
fan on or something like that, rename it, and then you can just change the command. So if you remember, fan on command is 3, so you have to set 3. Yeah, that's it. So similarly you can do for the other layout. Now I am not doing it. If you want, you could do that. Yeah, so this is the way how you do it.
That was a simple example of how to automate your room using Arduino and Bluetooth. Similarly, you can automate your room using internet also.
Yeah, and if you use internet to control your home appliance and all those things, like suppose if you are using internet and controlling your AC, so if you are somewhere outside and you want to switch on AC in your room and like that, so that would be more helpful, right? So if you are using a Bluetooth, you need to be near your house, so that makes a difference.
Yeah. And one more thing, we are currently working on the app.
In the description given below of this video, you can find links to the files. Like these files are sample codes from which you can start developing your own app. So there are there are samples for both Windows and Android. So if you're an Android developer, go for Android, and if you're Windows, then go for Windows. So yeah, and then if you couldn't follow up at any part of this video, please feel free to comment here, and then we will be here to help you.
Thanks for watching.